Welcome to Policy on Demand's Week in Review. I'm Rohit Kumar. My key takeaway this week is industrial policy is back with a vengeance. Both sides of the aisle, both campaigns, talking quite a bit about how they would use both tax and trade policy to try to incent a reinvigoration of U.S. manufacturing, U.S. employment, and the like. The approaches are different, but the underlying themes are the same. What that tells me is no matter who wins the White House, no matter who controls the House or the Senate, we should expect this to be kind of a persistent part of the political narrative over the course of the next 2, 4, 6 years, perhaps longer. And there are clearly tax and trade components to incenting the sorts of things that lawmakers, increasingly on a bipartisan basis, seem to want to create incentives for. So keep your eye on this space. I think there's a lot happening here. This week, I got asked repeatedly, like just shelled with questions, is there going to be a government shutdown? The answer is no. And what does this tell us about what might happen next year? The answer to that is a little less determinate. We did see Speaker Johnson have to return to House Democrats in order to get the continuing resolution across the finish line. The Senate did what the Senate typically does, which is very quickly followed suit and got out of town. Really, lawmakers are now very focused on the election, kind of trying to figure out who's going to be running the place in 2025, because so much of what happens next year, especially in tax with the expiration of all the individual tax cuts, so much of it is path dependent upon who is running the place, who has the levers of power, who is writing the tax law at the end of next year. As a result, what I think companies should focus on is what I think most people are increasingly focused on, which is what is going on in the polling, who do we think is going to be running the country, but equally importantly, pay attention to what the candidates are saying, both at the federal level, at the presidential level, but even in the House and Senate races. Pay attention to what they're saying about tax. Tax is starting to have a real seat at the table in terms of the political campaigns and the conversations. And while surely some of this is rhetoric, and not all of it will be pursued with seriousness or purpose in 2025, neither can we safely just ignore it all as rhetoric. Some of these campaign promises are going to take root, they're going to have political gravity, and lawmakers who return in 2025 will feel some level of compulsion to act on those things. So it might not be just what's expiring at the end of 2025. Some of these new ideas, I think, will eventually have a seat at the table.